All right, Raiders fans, how you feeling? Give me a number, 1 to 10. Are you feeling good about the hire? Are you feeling bad about the hire? Where are you with the hiring of Pete Carroll as your head coach? And I got to be honest with you, I thought Pete Carroll, while he's older, and I understand that, I thought he was one of the absolute best possible coaching hires of this cycle. Yes, you want Ben Johnson. I get it, of the Detroit Lions. And if you don't know who we are, my name's Craig. Chris is the other guy who does this channel. We have another channel, Sports Talk Detroit. We are Lions fans. We don't hide that. And there's a couple of surefire names, right, that were in this coaching cycle, but there is a legitimate chance that the Raiders actually got the best head coach on the market. No other head coach can say, I've won 170 regular season games. No other head coach can say that they stuck, that was available, can say that they were a solid coach for a long time. The only two coaches, I guess, that could have said that were Mike McCarthy and Pete Carroll. Now, Pete Carroll did it at both the college and the professional level, but I don't want to just talk about that. In this video, I want to talk about why this hire is actually better than you might think. Pete Carroll's been in the NFL for a long time. His roots run deep. The coaching staff that he can pull from runs very deep. But more than anything, he is a steadying presence. He will steady the ship. He will steady the ship. And I think oftentimes when we look at a guy like Carroll, we want to say like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to do it. And I'm trying to make a comparison here, and I'm blanking on a name. All right. And I don't know why I'm blanking on the name of the Rams coach when they were the greatest show on turf. And it's like, all right, he's a guy who's been around, but he's an older coach. Like, is this actually going to work? And the answer is yes, this is going to work. I think about the last coaching cycle. All these coaches got hired. Who ended up being the best coaching hire of them all? Was it a hotshot coordinator? Or was it the guy who had a little bit more of a proven track record named Dan Quinn? It was Dan Quinn. And even when you look at guys that have proven track records that go and coach other teams, it ends up going well for those teams. And the Raiders desperately needed consistency. They desperately needed consistency. So here's what I want to do. I want to show you a list of Raiders coaches since John Gruden. All right, John Gruden was the guy, the last person. All right, he coached 117 total games, went 60-57. That was a long time ago, right? And it's all messed up because then he came back and all that kind of stuff. But let's look at this list of coaches. Starting after Gruden the first time. In 2002, Bill Callahan, 15-17. Norv Turner, 9-23, 2 years. Lane Kiffin, 5-15, didn't even make it through the second year. Tom Cable, 17-27. Stop me if you're feeling pain. Hugh Jackson had a year at 8-8. Dennis Allen, yikes, 8-28. At some point, people will realize that Dennis Allen is a defensive coordinator. That's what he does well. All right, Tony Sparano, all right, came in 3-9. Jack Del Rio actually had some success, but it felt like a dumpster fire often. All right, it felt like a dumpster fire, and then Rich came in and went 7-5, and then like, are they going to do it? Josh McDaniels comes in, yikes, and then Antonio Pierce. Here is something that a lot of these guys had in common. None of them were extremely successful at previous stops. They just weren't. Norv Turner, you could make an argument. Maybe Jack Del Rio because he had some success with the Jaguars, right? But you can't make an argument that this was a regime that was bringing in a really good coach. Now, let's look otherwise to the Seattle Seahawks, all right, who have done it completely different. In that same time frame, all the coaches that I talked about for the Raiders, they've had 4. Mike Holmgren had 160 games. Pete Carroll had 227 of them. And then they had 1 year from Jim Mora. and 1 year now from Mike Macdonald. 137, 89, and 1, a 606 winning percentage. He is the most winningest coach in Seattle Seahawks history, a team that since 1976 has only had 9 coaches. Crazy to think about, isn't it? Crazy to think about. So, yeah, he is a stabilizing force. He will come in. You will have a good defense. The offense will be not remarkable, but it will play good and it will play hard. And what you will see out of Pete Carroll is very similar to what you were seeing from the team you hate in the Powder Blues with the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. That's what's coming to you now. And not only that, you get the 6th pick, I believe it is. So what do? Do you go young quarterback? Well, guess what? Pete Carroll's done that. Do you take a quarterback that, you know what, maybe he's been kind of a journeyman throughout his career, but you want to put him in a place that he can have success? Guess what? Pete Carroll's done that. Or do you want to go with a quarterback that has had a lot of success in the NFL, that was with Seattle in Russell Wilson? Pete Carroll has won with that. Remember when Russell Wilson was just a rookie with Pete Carroll, they made the playoffs. I understand they were only 7-9, and then they've won a Super Bowl. Like, these are all the things that Pete Carroll's done. He has not gotten enough credit for how good of a head coach he has been. He has won everywhere he has gone. He won at USC. He won at Seattle. And yeah, okay, so he's only been to 2 places, right? I mean, he was at places before USC, and it was kind of young in his career. Look, you're not throwing stuff on a wall and see what sticks anymore. You're going with the proven commodity. That's why this is so good. That's why this makes sense to me. And the Seattle Seahawks so often had amazing defenses, and that's what the Raiders were hoping for. That's what they were hoping for this year, is that you could have a phenomenal defense. You'd have a coach in there that could get you that good defense. And I'm telling you right now, Pete Carroll is the guy to come in. After 14 seasons, I don't think they should have moved on. Year 1, 10-7, didn't make the playoffs without him. It was not a better team. In fact, when you watch the Seattle Seahawks this year, and we talk about them often on this channel, I think Mike Macdonald is a good football coach. I really do. I don't know if he's as good as the defensive coordinator that came after him at U of M, right? In Jesse Minter, who's now with the Chargers. But I think he's a very good football coach. And it looked often like the Seahawks were lost this year because they didn't have the steadying presence of a head coach that has been around for a long time. So yes, I think you absolutely hit a home run. I can't wait to see what kind of a staff he puts around him. Some experience, some not experience, because he's not a young guy. He's 73 years old. But when you look at Pete Carroll, he's always a guy who's been 10 years younger than he seems. So you bring him in here. Maybe he gives you 2, 3, 4, 5 good years, but the whole idea is that he's going to bring someone in with him. I guarantee this is part of the plan. He's going to bring someone in with him that's going to be the coach in waiting if everything works out well. The Raiders, let's go back to this list. Before we end this video, Antonio Pierce, Josh McDaniels, Rich Bisaccia, right? Jack Del Rio, Tony Soprano, Dennis Allen, Hugh Jackson, Tom Cable, Lane Kiffin, Norv Turner, Bill Callahan. What do they need? They need a steadying presence at coach. They need a steadying presence as a head coach. That's what they need. And I can't wait to see what that looks like for them this year and coming up. I'm not saying it's going to be the most exciting brand of ball, but you're going to have a quarterback. No matter what you do, you have a coach that's been through it. He's ready for it. And that's the most important thing, is how do you develop that position? All right. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.